At the beginning of the film, Professor Charles Xavier states, "Mutation is the key to our evolution. It has enabled us to becoming the dominant species on Earth. This process is gradual. However, every few hundred millennia, evolution makes significant progress." The film then commenced in Poland, 1944, amidst the German occupation when Jews were gathered and transported to concentration camps. A young German Jewish boy, separated from his parents by a locked metal gate and held back by guards, reached out to them, demonstrating his powers of magnetic attraction as the gate bent, contorted, and opened towards him. The boy's harrowing experience during the Holocaust shaped his future as the character Magneto. In another prologue scene set in contemporary times, in the not-too-distant future, in Meridian, Mississippi, 17-year-old Marie Dancanto playfully kissed her boyfriend David, accidentally putting him into a coma for 3 weeks when she absorbed his life energy with her dormant mutant ability. Overwhelmed and isolated, she fled from home to Canada. The next scene transitioned to the U.S. Senate, where a contentious bill, the Mutant Registration Act, was being debated. Mutant rights advocate Dr. Jean Grey was testifying about how mutant traits emerge during puberty, particularly during intense emotional stress. She opposed the bill. The legislation was championed by the zealous, biased, anti-mutant Senator Robert Kelly. It mandated that mutants, superior genetically gifted individuals with unique powers due to DNA mutation and an X factor, register with the government as a minority group, thus disclosing their identities and abilities. Listening to Kelly engage in the debate was his primary adversary, the telepathic, peace-loving, wheelchair-bound founder of the X-Men, Professor Charles Xavier. Also in attendance was the formidable leader of the militant, animalistic Brotherhood of Mutants, the embittered Magneto, Xavier's former ally, and Holocaust survivor Eric Lenscher, who bore a number burned into his arm, capable of generating magnetic fields and manipulating metal. In northern Alberta, Canada, Marie had hitchhiked by truck to Laughlin City, where truck stop drivers were observing a caged fight between the short-tempered, sensory-sensitive Wolverine/Logan and a defeated opponent. With his robust physique supported by a surgically implanted metal alloy, adamantium, skeleton, he maintained his title as King of the Cage, a means for him to earn a modest living. At the bar where she was hydrating with water, the nervous Marie encountered Wolverine as he ordered a beer. At that moment, the TV broadcast announced an impending UN summit, the largest single gathering of world leaders in history, scheduled to take place on Ellis Island. Wolverine, regarded as a mutant freak, when he clashed with a disgruntled and vanquished fighter and revealed his long, razor-sharp retractable metal claws, was expelled from the bar. He begrudgingly allowed Marie to accompany him, and she introduced herself as Rogue. Abruptly, a vehicle collision occurred, and Wolverine, not secured by a seatbelt, was thrust through the windshield. Marie observed as he exhibited rapid regenerative healing from his severe injuries, but she found herself trapped in the burning trailer. Sensing an ambush with his heightened awareness, Wolverine was attacked by one of Magneto's devoted followers, the ferocious, growling, feline-like, long-haired, clawed creature known as Sabretooth. 2 additional mutants appeared seemingly out of nowhere, laser-eyed, protective visor-wearing Cyclops/Scott Summers. Weather-controlling Storm/Aurora Monroe rescued them with their abilities from the exploding camper trailer. Wolverine and Rogue were brought to Xavier's X-Mansion, located in Westchester, New York, where he had assembled a special group of benevolent mutants. The mutant students at Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, also known as Mutant High, were educated on peaceful coexistence between humans and mutants, as well as methods to manage their extraordinary powers. Among the new arrivals to receive instruction was the runaway Rogue/Marie, who possessed the unfortunate lethal ability to drain a human's life energy through mere touch. She was unable to engage in physical contact with humans. However, in the case of superpowered mutants, she could temporarily absorb their abilities through touch. One of the other students, Bobby Drake, developed an affection for Marie and showcased his Iceman ability to convert the moisture in the air into a frozen ice sculpture. Xavier introduced Wolverine to the mansion's Dr. Grey, who possessed telekinetic and telepathic abilities, as well as to Cyclops and Storm, who had previously saved his life. Acting in a confrontational manner, Wolverine was reminded of his memory loss over a span of 15 years during which he had wandered as a solitary figure. It was suggested that they should strategize against the angry and vengeful Magneto, who sought a conflict with humanity. His conviction that humans and mutants could never coexist had previously caused a rift between Magneto and Professor Xavier. During a helicopter journey, anti-mutant politician Senator Kelly was kidnapped by two of Magneto's most devoted supporters. Kelly was taken to Magneto's island stronghold. There, Magneto showcased how he could significantly enhance his powers using a mutation machine he had created. This device released radiation that caused Senator Kelly's body to mutate. The politician was transformed into a mutant with a flexible, jelly-like form, capable of stretching into various shapes. During an escape attempt, he fell from Magneto's fortress into the water and was later washed ashore, where beachgoers were shocked by his pale, waterlogged skin. Meanwhile, Mystique transformed into Bobby to trick Rogue into leaving the mutant school. She mistakenly thought that Professor Xavier was angry with her because other students were supposedly freaked after she temporarily took Wolverine's healing powers. He had accidentally stabbed her chest with his claws during a nightmare. When Xavier noticed Rogue was missing, he used his powerful Cerebro supercomputer, which he built with Magneto, along with a helmet interface to find Rogue at a distant train station. Although the professor asked Storm and Cyclops to bring Rogue back, Wolverine took Cyclops' motorcycle, sped to the station, and found her on a train that was about to leave. He persuaded her to come back to the mutant school. At the same time, Bobby, who was actually Mystique, entered Xavier's mansion and went to Cerebro to mess with its circuits. A fight broke out at the train station between Storm and Cyclops when Toad and Sabretooth showed up to capture Rogue. Cyclops fired destructive red laser beams into the ceiling while Storm called down lightning to fight back. Magneto stopped the train, overpowered Wolverine, and took Rogue away to join his other two allies. Outside the train station, surrounded by police, his metal-controlling powers caused police cars to crash and rendered the officers' weapons useless. A telepathic confrontation between Magneto and Xavier ended when the professor relented to avoid any injuries. It was discovered that Magneto required Rogue's powers. He had been weakened by his machine when it siphoned energy from him during Senator Kelly's mutation. He needed to strategically absorb her mutant ability into himself to energize his machine, even though it would require her sacrifice. Senator Kelly stumbled into Xavier's mansion, facing fatal repercussions from his artificial mutation. His unstable body, with a deteriorating cell structure, was rejecting the unnatural mutation it had undergone. He dissolved into a puddle of water. Professor Xavier once again wore a helmet in Cerebro to locate Rogue's and Magneto's, but due to sabotage of the machine, he fell into a coma as he toppled from his wheelchair. It was evident that there would be fatal outcomes, as shown by Kelly's death. Magneto's ambitious takeover goal was to win the war between mutants and the rest of humanity. He planned to dramatically showcase his scheme during the UN summit of the world's influential leaders on Ellis Island, mutating all attendees with his machine so that everyone would be equal. After repairing Cerebro, Dr. Jean Grey discovered where Magneto was setting up his machine, in the torch hand of the Statue of Liberty on nearby Liberty Island. A desperate battle took place after the X-Men arrived in a stealth jet to confront Magneto's Brotherhood of Mutants. Initially, Toad, with his long prehensile tongue and the ability to spit suffocating green slime, and Mystique, who transformed into Logan, were tough opponents. However, they were taken down by Storm and Logan, who stabbed his foe. With Sabretooth and Magneto's arrival, the X-Men found themselves trapped by twisted metal. Magneto was determined to execute his deadly plan, targeting his machine at Ellis Island. Those people down there, they control our fate and the fate of every other mutant. Well, soon our fate will be theirs. In a fierce one-on-one battle on top of Lady Liberty's head, Wolverine clashed with Sabretooth but was thrown partway off the statue. Cyclops used a laser blast to send Sabretooth flying out of Lady Liberty's forehead. With Storm's powerful winds and Jean Grey's telekinetic support, Wolverine was directed to Magneto's rotating mutation machine to halt its effects and rescue Rogue. The confrontation between Wolverine and Magneto concluded with another laser blast from Cyclops. Magneto was knocked off balance and injured, thus thwarting his evil scheme and destroying the machine before the mutational effects could reach Ellis Island. As she was dying, Rogue, with strands of white hair, was saved when Wolverine held her close and transferred his healing abilities to her. The movie concluded with Xavier waking up from his coma. Mystique was still alive, using her shape-shifting ability to take on the appearance of Senator Kelly during a TV news segment, where she clarified his misconceptions about the Mutant Registration Act. Meanwhile, Wolverine set off for an abandoned military site near Alkali Lake in the Canadian Rockies to uncover the secrets of his past. He entrusted his dog tag to Rogue for safekeeping, stating, "He'll be back for this." Even though he was locked in a completely plastic prison cell, where he played chess with Xavier, Magneto swore to keep fighting, saying, "The war is still coming, Charles, and I intend to fight it by any means necessary." Professor Xavier assured him that he would always stand against him, with his X-Men replying, "And I will always be there, old friend."